Boom! Welcome back, everybody, to the Ultra Crude Podcast. This is a Mid-State Mile production. I'm your host, John Cox. With me, as always, the fabulous host with the most, BMFJ. Say hi, BMFJ.
Hello, BMFJ.
That's not, you know what to say. That's not, we're in the Murder Mile studio here, coming at you.
Yeah.
And we're back. And we're back after another week of training to run ultras, training to make it through life with a little bit more grace, doing trail work. I'll stop doing that as well. I appreciate your high eyebrows. Goodness gracious. One little tick there, and she really came after me with the high eyebrows. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you've been doing it a lot.
I not well, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a drink of Fresco. Why don't you say something?
I'm saying something. I've said something with my face.
Yeah, your face betrays you constantly, or you use your facial expressions to your advantage. I haven't quite figured out which one it is yet.
Okay, well that's fine. You don't have to figure it out.
All right, we're race directors. We're getting ready to put on Big Al's. Miss Jones out there doing some trail work this weekend. A bit of flood damage. I'll tell you what. It rained a lot Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And it was so nice because I don't remember the last Saturday we had together where we didn't have to get up and go running, go to a race, get trail work going on. It was just so nice to kind of have a lazy Saturday. It was productive. We did some things. Did some errands, nice little Saturday. Even went to Home Depot.
Oh yeah. Out there with the weekend warrior of the Home Depot.
Yeah, well, it kept a lot of them at bay. We had a nice little lunch.
Yeah, we did.
Which I want to talk about. I've got strong opinions about this, and I know that you probably have strong opinions that are opposite of mine. Because I did again. Because you spent several years in the food bar industry.
Uh-huh.
I can't stand it when I have to assemble my own sandwich.
Dear fucking God.
Listen.
I have been hearing the same thing since we started dating. And every meal, you never miss an opportunity when we were out to eat, which is pretty fucking regular, to let me know that putting the lettuce and tomato on your sandwich is oppression. And you can't handle. Do you know how many meals we have a year and how many times I have to hear that every single
Well, that just makes us sound bad financially.
Well, yeah. It's not like all the time, but
like when you go out to eat, you're paying somebody else to prepare your food. Like you're saying, hey, I'm gonna sit down at the table. I'm gonna pick from this menu. This is the available items. Somebody in the back is gonna cook it up. They're gonna bring it out, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Now, when you bring it out, and I've got to put the bun together, and the condiments on there, and the lettuce and the tomato and the onion, I have to do the assembly. That's half the job of the kitchen.
You know why they do that?
Because they're lazy? Because they're saving production costs? No, I have no idea why they do it. Somebody enlighten me as to why I'm paying good money to assemble my own food.
One, food costs. Because
it's cheaper for the burger is cheaper if I put it together?
If you would stop talking, I would tell you why.
I told you she had really strong opinions.
I do. 16 years of service industry.
Yeah, I know we have different opinions on this.
You know why? It's because motherfuckers can't read. They can't read the menu. I can't tell you how many times you can put in large bulk mayo and mustard comes on the bun. You can ask the person.
I love it.
Hey, mayo and mustard comes on the bun. Is that okay? And they'll, oh yeah. But you know why? Because you're a peasant. And they don't care. They don't want to talk to you. No, stop. They want to go back to talking to Steve or whoever is at the table or fucking off. So they don't care what you say to them. And then you will bring the food to them and they'll go, oh, there's the mayo on here. I'm sorry, but I can't do it. And then the kitchen has to remake the food and give another bun. So it's because people can't fucking read or pay attention that you now have to put your food together because they get tired of remaking it. I can't tell you how many times it comes up. Hey, there's onion on this. No, it's already touched everything on there and it's gonna taste like onion. So you have to redo the whole setup again. So no, assemble your own shit and put it on there the way that you want it. because we, as a society, can't figure out how a menu works.
So I am paying the consequences of other people's actions?
Of the people that suck, yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, short story.
You're welcome.
I don't like it. It was a lovely BLT that came with a jalapeno mayo, and they called it mayo. They didn't call it aioli, which I appreciate. I hate it when people say aioli.
Oh no, I want aioli, baby. I want it bougie.
Yes, it's just mayo.
I don't care. I want to say aioli.
But I had to put it on. I had to put it on, and it's listen. That goes on both slices of bread. It was cut in half. That was 4 individual pieces of toast that I had to disassemble, and then I put it back together, and it's all falling apart. It was horrible. I mean, it was all right, but I would have rather just be like, "Oh, this is delicious," and get on into it, as opposed to doing a disassembly, mayo spackle job reassembly. My lettuce and tomatoes falling out,
Wow,
bacon pieces.
quite the word salad there.
Well, it was a sandwich, is what it was. This is also why I don't order fajitas.
Oh yeah, you have to put it
because I got to put it together. Like I would rather just order something else. Like if I'm going to make my own food, we'll just go home.
No, I would rather make my own food. I want to portion it out how I want on there.
No, somebody else.
I don't want
Listen,
Kevin in the kitchen to do it.
They have years. First of all, it's not Kevin.
Whatever. I've met a lot of cooks named Kevin.
Just a whole bunch of Kevins back there.
It's usually a kitchen manager named Kevin.
There we go. Yeah, he's not putting food together either. Yeah, that's why I don't order fajitas. I don't want to do it.
I like that. I like
the most I will tolerate is putting sour cream on.
I want to do my own portions on my food. I am very big on how all of that comes together and goes in my mouth. I don't want too much of one thing and not enough of another. If I can put mayo evenly on there, I am super happy. Maybe a little less mustard. I don't want someone to decide for me how I want my food to taste.
My theory is that if this guy's back there making sandwiches like all day, like I make a couple sandwiches a week at most. He's got way more experience at sandwich making than I do. Like I'm going because he is a superior sandwich maker.
No, he's not as invested in you as you are. He's not invested because he does it all the time.
That's a good point. But he's got more experience. He should be more talented than I am, and that should count.
Yeah, he probably is. But it doesn't mean he's going to apply that.
I think it translates. I think his level of talent and experience are overcompensating his lack of interest.
How much time have you spent in the kitchen?
Like a commercial kitchen?
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot. Some, but not at a high level.
Okay.
Listen.
I think we should. we can move on from the kitchen.
All right. Well, this actually does bring us to one of our listener questions we got from last week.
Oh.
Long range movement, buddy over there, Phil. The other Phil. And that's the question. And I've been percolating on this for a whole week now. And you're getting it.
Obviously fresh and hot.
Yeah, you're getting it off the cuff. What is your death row meal? Do we have to explain the concept of death row? For the listeners at home, death row is like the last meal you'll ever eat.
I think they know.
Okay, well, I was biding you time to think. Oh, you didn't take any advantage of it, did you?
Obviously not.
Yeah, you screwed that up. I was throwing you a bone. I was doing you a favor.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably some kind of steak with like crab meat on top.
Steak with crab meat? Oh.
Yeah.
Like a truffle butter too?
Yeah, duh, why not?
You gonna do a potato?
Nah, I don't like starch. Listen, I mean, if you're gonna kill me, I don't want to be bloated too. I can't have my blood sugar messed up.
You know what? That's actually funny. That was like one of my things. Like, I don't want to be too heavy. Like I think it depends on the method a little bit.
Maybe like a baked Gouda mac and cheese
On the side, that could get down. Yeah, that could get down. So I can't get there. What's your favorite meal?
I feel like you're hitting me with a lot of questions here that require some deep thought.
Do you not know what your favorite meal is?
Pizza, duh.
I didn't think you liked pizza that much.
No, I love pizza. I mean, just not usually the pizza you pick, but I love pizza.
So it was like the first 2 years of our relationship, I had done a lot of research at this point in my life. I had studied frozen pizzas to a high extent, both in flavor, cost, and quality of the pizza. And I had came away with the DiGiorno.
It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno.
DiGiorno. The DiGiorno thin crust pizza was my jam. And then for like 2 years, that was our frozen pizza.
Every Friday.
No, we didn't get frozen pizza every Friday.
It was pretty much every
Friday. Pizza on Friday.
He likes pizza on Friday.
Yeah. Because it's pretty long run. You got to put the carbs in. You got to get ready. So I would get the DiGiorno. Like, I remember the conversation we had in the store. I don't even think we had in the store. I was just like, hey, this is what's happening. I've done a lot of research. I told you right off the bat.
Yeah, you were pretty proud.
I was proud, yeah.
Your research.
I spent a lot of time on it, studying. And then, like, one day you were just like, please, for the love of God, can we just get a regular pizza? Do not make me eat another slice of that thin crust crap on a cracker. My world was shattered. Yeah. All right. Pizza's it, huh? What's your favorite pizza? It's the Domino's, isn't it? With the extra sauce?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Domino's. Extra sauce is the key.
Yeah.
But I also like the regular DiGiorno.
Yeah, I know you like regular DiGiorno. It's just not that good.
You can have your opinions. I'll have my facts.
I've since moved. The home run in pizza is quality pie. It's the best frozen pie out there. It's delicious. It's got a good amount of sauce on it.
It does.
It has a wonderful crust. The toppings are generous and flavorful. Like,
you're not wrong.
I'm well aware I'm not wrong. It's superior. Okay. It's 5 stars above the DiGiorno thin crust. I'll give that to you. Like,
it's way better than DiGiorno thin crust.
It's phenomenal.
But I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, we're still gonna get it. I don't care.
Oh, I know we are.
You like it every time we have it. You're like, no, this is good.
I eat it. It's good. I mean, it's fine for frozen pizza. I think for the price point, it's not that fucking good.
Frozen pizza is outrageous these days.
It's like $11 for this $11 for pizza, and I'm like,
pizza.
I could get a Domino's pizza that's way better.
Mm-hmm. Some days it just isn't the same, though. Some days I just really want the frozen pizza.
It's a $7 pizza. It's not a $10 pizza.
$7 pizza. We might have that joker every night.
It's a solid 7. Anything over that, no.
What if we get a coupon?
Do you have a stash of coupons?
No, I've never seen a coupon offered. I'll look for them now, though. I'm going to go to the website.
Go for
see if I can buy stock.
Yeah, it's just not worth the price point. I'd rather have a good pizza from somewhere.
All right.
That day.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I might do pizza as a death row meal. I feel like, this is my thought, is that you obviously don't want to be bloated and too full, but then like, hey, this thing's over anyway. Might as well send it, right?
I guess.
Like,
that's a point.
Like, I'm definitely going to have some ice cream. I know that. And one of those Reese's eggs. Diet Coke. Probably both. Why not?
The world is your oyster for 15 more minutes.
Yeah, and then I think, what's the point? What do I care? Like, let's get this over with. Let's just get on with it.
All right.
There you have it. That's the listener question. Thanks for sending those in. If you got a question, go ahead and hit us up on the Instagram, Midstate Mile, or send us a message. You'll know how to reach us.
Yeah.
If you don't, then ask. Leave a comment, do something. We'll figure it out. We'll find you. If you find us, we'll find that you found us.
I'll find you.
That was creepy. Also started the arena this weekend.
Yeah, big news.
Shout out Gabe Cross.
Yes.
Listen, y'all, if you are in the mid-state area in Tennessee, there's a group called the Scallywags. They're doing a lot of fun ultras down there. Not ultras and short runs. He does a lot of half stuff, does some 5Ks. Dude's a G. He showed up with a Bobcat hole digger. And we had 17 posts that we had to dig Sunday morning. And it knocked it out in an hour with a coffee break, mind you.
Yeah, I pulled in only an hour after they got there.
As always.
No, 8 o'clock when I said I'd be there.
You said you'd be there. That's fine. I was just for levity. Hey, whoa! Hey!
So I pull in as they're getting ready to dig the very last hole.
Yeah, we were wrapping up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not easily impressed with how fast things move, Usually they move a lot slower than I think they're going to. I go, I don't understand why this took 2 hours to do. It seems like a solid hour and 15, but hey, I'm not doing it, so I don't care. I don't have an opinion.
Man's work.
Yeah, or the opinion I have, I keep to myself.
That's rare.
Because I know my role.
That's even more rare than you being easily impressed.
I'm not having to do
yourself.
I don't have to do it. No one needs my input. So.
Yeah, we got it rolling though, and hey, we're officially building the arena. It's going on out there. Ground has been broken. Anyway, listen, the Scallywags, great group. Check them out, find them. Wow, it took us, for perspective, it took us an hour to dig the first post by hand 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it took us an hour to dig the second post by hand. Last year, we got a 2-man auger. And that thing wore you out, and it took us all day to do 5 posts. It beat you up. The thing was rough. There is literally no other way to dig a post hole than this post hole digging machine. Like, I don't know what it would cost to go out and rent one, but if you get, it's worth it. Even for one, it's worth it. Game changer.
Well, their upcoming race, Mad Mallard.
Mad Mallard's a good one.
That's in July over at Henry Horton State Park.
Yeah, and it starts at night too.
Yeah, it's a night race.
That's really cool.
I think they did 3, 6, 12, and I think they did 24 this year. I think they got a permit for that, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, that's really awesome. Yeah, he's doing a lot of good stuff down there. Check him out. He's just one of those people that's just out here doing good in the world.
Yeah. You got a lot of people out there in the world that you only hear from when they need something or they got something coming up. This type of guy that's like, hey, I know you got stuff going on. What can I do to help?
Yeah, he's like, listen, I'm sure I know somebody that can make this real easy. And I'm like, hey, that's cool with me. And showed up with it. So hats off to them. I really appreciate that. We're going to rock and roll in this arena. We're going to get all ready for everybody.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch you build that. I'll bring the sandwiches.
Bring the sandwiches. You did come through with the sandwiches. Really appreciate that. Is that it? Is that it for the week? You got any other news? You were on spring break last week. Woo! Woo!
It was nice to not have class.
Yeah.
I would say I can't complain about that.
It was nice. It was nice for you to not have class.
Yeah. Gave me a taste of freedom. Not
nice,
going back with angst and anger.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you were able to renew your angst and anger.
I was just getting settled in.
Down week. Like, anger tank's full.
Top it off, rage tank.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if the sandwiches don't do it for you. I want to talk about last week. No, I don't want to talk about last week, but last week we talked about failure, which in and of itself is kind of controversial to talk about. We talked about the importance of naming failure, learning from it and kind of pushing forward, and how hard it is to move forward and grow if we're not willing to accept that we failed. But as I percolated on that throughout the week, I realized that it's not quite that simple. One of the reasons it's so hard to admit that we failed, or at least for me, because I've seen it in my life and in the life of others, is we bring a lot of other stuff along with us when we go for a run. Right? There's a lot of mental health issues, I think, out here in the world, but they're out here in the sport. And so people are bringing that in. And so just saying, hey, you have to accept failure isn't quite as clean cut and nice as I think we want it to be. We have to kind of unpack why it's hard to do. I've not really shied away that much from talking about my struggles with depression. I don't do it all the time because I don't want to just burn people out about it. But I kind of want to do it enough so people know it's okay. Like, hey, you're not alone out here. Like, there's this junk that other people deal with too. If you're dealing with it, like, hey, listen, like it's okay to feel it. Like, some of these things are really natural to feel, and they're very important to feel. There are times in your life where you should very much feel depressed because that's a natural reaction to the consequences or the events that are going on in your life. Like, that's important. For me, I've felt those things since I was about 8 years old. With varying degrees. And there are times where, when natural consequences and things happen, and that gets much worse as a result of events and just normal everyday life. But even on the good days, it's, it's kind of just not that easy. And, the hardest times I've had, lately, and I say lately, covering, a couple of years or whatever. I know the hardest times I had last year, where things were, I'll say, suffocating. We're at an ultra. In an ultra, I wasn't running. Like, it's not like I was struggling in a race, or I didn't understand what was happening, or I understood what was happening and I was dealing with this complex emotion. It was things where I didn't understand why it was happening. I knew what was happening, but I had no idea why. And so if you're having an episode or you've got something going on and you fall short of a goal or a mid run or whatever, and we say, hey, you need to call this failure, that can be a lot harder to digest and accept, because now it's a lot bigger than just running a race. Now it's much more of who you are. And we say all the time, we've told each other this, that running should be therapeutic, and it is, but it shouldn't be therapy.
And there's a lot of people that use it for therapy when they should definitely find another route.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and maybe just running in and of itself is closer to therapy than therapeutic, and maybe just races are less of that. Running's a great space to go out there and digest and unpack and feel good and increase endorphins, and yeah, you feel better, and you should. Like, it's very therapeutic, but there's some real stuff that I don't think that running is always going to solve.
No, and there is real shit that happens, but you do have to realize that if you keep repeating this, it's like what do you call when you're repeating things? I'm blanking on the word here. You're
Repetition?
No, like you're creating a pattern.
Creating a pattern?
There's a word I'm specifically looking for.
Like Groundhog Day?
No, but if you could read my mind right now, that'd be real great.
I can read your face, and it's not looking at me real well.
Well, that's just my face. Isn't that what you say? It's just how my face looks. But they run, they do the race, they get the accomplishment that they want, and then all of those feelings that they ignored just came back up.
Yeah.
It just...
Yeah, it becomes a cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, look at us. So cute. It does. It becomes a cycle, and then you need that to fulfill. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got to get that fulfillment from accomplishing the distance of the run or the goal or whatever, to maintain homeostasis.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that the other day when we were doing hill repeats, that you see a lot of this in the sport, that people need the accomplishment to mask who they are, what they've got going on, and the pain that they're avoiding. Mm-hmm. If they are winners and they're doing good and they're running fast and they're getting all these accolades on social media, it masks all the pain or sadness or ugliness or whatever they're feeling that they just don't want to address. It gives them this feeling of, I am worthy, I am good. And we are as humans 100%, but like, at some point you gotta fucking face what's right there and go, why do I keep feeling like shit? Why do I keep having all these negative thoughts or intrusive thoughts? Or, maybe I need more than a podium finish. Maybe I need more than what I'm seeking here. Like, maybe I could do some personal work. You know what? I suck at being a friend. I suck in relationships. Man, I'm kind of a shitty person. I'm selfish.
Nah, just do the Goggins challenge instead.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, there's things, and so much of who we are and what we do and how we avoid those feelings are connected to runners and ultra runners. And we're just talking about running specifically. There's other things out there. For some people, it could be taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, fucking pickleball, whatever.
I feel like we're throwing pickleball under the bus on this podcast.
But you understand what I'm saying?
No, yeah, totally. Like, if you're just using a coping mechanism, and that's what it is. You're using fitness or running or achievement as a coping mechanism for what you got going on, which far better than methamphetamine.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, way better than that.
Yeah, and for some people, they got sober, and this is how they stay sober. But when you fail or you have to admit failure, it can really fuck with your identity.
It'll
and
jack up your worldview.
Absolutely. And it can just throw you deeper into that hole that you are failing to see, or you're just avoiding. You're like, I'm not going to step over there. If I don't step over there, I don't have to worry about it.
Well, and I think you nailed it, because it jacks up your identity, and so many, we see this all the time. You see this with moms, and you see it in a workplace environment. You see it in soldiers coming back. They're no longer in the army. They don't know how to adjust. Ultra runners, whatever it is, we're in a space where we create an identity for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when I became an ultra runner, that was a big thing. That was that period was defining who I was. I was creating this identity of Jon and ultra runner. Huge deal. Didn't think there's never a point in my life where I thought I would be an ultra runner until I realized it was a thing. And I was like, this is because it was going to say something about me. It was going to say something about me that I liked. And I wanted other people to like as well. I wanted other people to know that. It's still different than being, creating the identity of, a good friend, or that's probably a little better, but, or a certain occupation. Help me out here.
Or a good church member, if that's your thing, like being very active in things and having people having a good upstanding view of you.
Yeah. So we put so much work and effort into creating this identity for ourselves. And when that gets taken away, whether it's all our fault, or we just missed a cutoff, or we fall short in a race, or we get fired, or we get divorced, whatever, or we transition out, like now our identity is, we don't know who we are anymore. You see this with parents whose kids grow up and leave the nest and go off to college. They don't know who they are as people anymore, because they're not actively raising children. You spend your whole life, 18 years or 20, depending on how many kids you have, 30 years, I don't know.
Some of them don't leave.
Yeah, some of them don't leave. But you spend so much time in this one identity that you've created, you've built up, that you're secure in, and then it disappears, and you're just lost as a person. Like, you don't know what to do. So if your identity is in ultra running, and your identity is being a 50-mile finisher, a 100-mile finisher, and you don't get there, like, who are you? Like, no wonder it's hard to accept and admit and call that failure, if that admission is stripping you of so much that you've built up. Like, and not everybody's that self-assured. Certainly. Like, you've been BMFJ. Ain't everybody like you, baby. You got it going on.
Oh, thanks.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're going to be you regardless. But not everybody has that internal feeling, that empowerment, that self-assurance. And we do things, and we attach our capability to our identity.
Yeah, you see that a lot, especially in sports, athletics.
Yeah.
There's lots of other ways, but
retired ball players.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what to do. And we've got this hole that just can't be filled.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be, and it's hard to watch people go through that. And man, it's just shit to navigate. It sucks. It fucking sucks. I'm not going to say that I've gone through it on that level, but there's definitely been periods of my life. I went through it when I left restaurant.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine.
Doing something for 16 years and not really having any direction of, I knew that I was a runner and that running was going to change my life, and not like I'm going to get famous and no, it was going to take it in a positive direction. I didn't like who I was, the lifestyle I was living, and the things that I was doing. I didn't necessarily know how to get my shit together on the other side of that, per se. And it's still been an evolution. And I think I just accepted that I'm going to constantly be a work in progress. And I can identify with that. Now, that doesn't give me an excuse to be an asshole, which sometimes I am, or sometimes I say and do things that I shouldn't, and I'm okay with that. I don't expect to be perfect, and I am constantly always working on myself, whether people see that or not.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, and I appreciate that because I think that's the healthy place to be in. But I don't know that you're hinging your identity, and this is, I think, where it hurts is that you hinge your identity. You're creating an identity for yourself based on your ability.
Yeah.
And you're kind of saying like, hey, this doesn't have anything to do with what I'm capable of or what I'm currently doing. This is just me. I'm Becca Jones.
I would say
I'm going to work on being the best Becca Jones I can be. And for me, the solution and what I had to come to and remind myself is that I am wonderfully and divinely created. And who you are created to be will always be bigger and more powerful and better than anything you create yourself to be.
I love that.
And so that's what's got to keep me home. It doesn't matter how far I run or what I want to be. And listen, I want to be a lot of things. Still want to be a race car driver.
Yeah, you do.
But if that was my only identity of self, if I was hinging all my eggs on this basket, like there would just be nothing but a hole. And when I step back and realize that I have gifts and talents and abilities that were given to me purposefully, and it's my job to simply figure those things out and then be the best version of myself and take that ability of what I've been given and then do things with it. Not find things to do, to identify and say, I need these abilities to do this thing. It's now take what you're capable of. Stretch that. And I think that keeps me much, much more grounded.
Yeah. When you kind of first realized that, did you find that you really struggled to admit failure? Did you make a lot of excuses to avoid that and not have that tied to who you are?
But yeah,
Do you think that held you
I
back
mean,
or
I
gave you?
held a lot of eggs in the basket of achievement. Nathan hit me over the head one day. I was out on a trip with him, and he's like, you came looking for a result. I was looking for this thing to define who I was. I wanted to be able to do this, and I realized that was a negative approach, and it took me a while longer to work all the way through that and realize that this is who I am. I'm going to work harder, and then as a result of who I am, I'm going to do this thing. As a result of who I am, I'm going to accomplish this. I'm not going to accomplish that to make me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was putting the accomplishment of a thing, of a distance, to say something about me, to give me that identity, as opposed of that being a result of who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Is it kind of like where someone's like, I want to run 100 miles to show that I can do anything, that I am capable of that? Well, you're probably already capable of it.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't have to be tied to doing that.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I wanted the 100 miles or the distance or whatever it was to be a result of who I am, not who I am to be a result of running.
Mm-hmm.
And we do this with work. That made the same mistakes with work. Like I want who I am to be a result of this job.
Yeah.
Instead of this job to be a result of who I am.
Yeah.
Because who I am is intentionally and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm.
And if I maximize those results of who I am, then I'm going to be able to do all this other stuff. Now, if I'm just focusing on doing all this other stuff to tell me who I am, well, now I've got it upside down.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think you've ever let that play in you internally. I'm not saying you've never done it, but you always present to me. This is one of the reasons I look up to you, because you don't let these things pull you back and forth, or at least you don't show it. If you're not showing me, then you're really good at it.
It's not that I don't feel some of those same things. I mean, I'm human, and when I'm out there going through something, like I have a lot of those same thoughts and feelings, but I think I learned at a very young age, and through sports, to not let them dictate what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but like even in sports, like that idea of being a champion and being a winner, like that's got to be a big draw to be able. I want to win this game so that I can be a winner, so I can be a champion.
No one gives a fuck. No one cares more than you. Like and it's a powerful thing. Yeah, it's a great memory for you and your loved ones and your teammates. And if you are a member of a team, you should care just as much, because you need everyone to care that much to get you where you're going. And if you want to be at the top, yeah, you have to care to a point. But you know what? At the end of the day, winners are forgotten and people move on. I mean, I've got a lot of trophies. I've got a lot of medals. I was good at running then, and I do get to cling to that I have that ability. And I really enjoyed that. It gave me a lot of wins for sure. And that's special to me. I don't take any of that for granted. But even when it was going on, it wasn't because I wanted to be a winner or have people see me a certain way. I set out to do what I wanted to do. And even then, I set out to run a time that I wanted to run, to get a place that I wanted to do. And I wanted it for me. I didn't care about anybody else. Like, I'm not going to say this is for my parents and this is for... Nope. I said I was going to do it, so that's what I'm going to do. It wasn't for any other reason. And I'm blessed in that. But struggles come with that too, because sometimes you need another motivation. And if you don't care, you're like, it doesn't fucking matter to anybody. When you want to dig down, it's not there because you don't care enough to have anything else to reach for. And I mean, there's been times where I've laid off or missed opportunities to, man, I really could have PR'd there, really could have done this. But it's like, I'm the one that cares, and I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to. I mean...
Yeah, I still, at the end of the day, I think that's much healthier than the other way around, though.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, champions we talk
Perhaps there's a balance to strike here somewhere.
Yeah.
And the balance is understanding who you are, understanding the gifts you've been given, working hard to maximize those gifts.
Yeah, it's
and being
definitely
your
a
best
balancing
self.
act. Yeah, for sure. That can come together. You know, they can do that. You don't. It can be very unhealthy in how I approach things sometimes. But when something doesn't go my way, I also don't have that low or sad or disappointment. Like, on to the next. Okay. I mean, no sense in being hung up on that. That's shit. I mean, like, when people are like, "Oh, well, you did great," no, I didn't. No, I shit the bed on that. It's fine. Like,
yeah, I think that's so much of it is understanding that whatever happened doesn't say anything about you.
Yeah.
The results aren't definitive of who you are, good or bad.
Yeah.
Got it. One came in last place, only ran a step. It doesn't say anything about who you are as an individual.
No.
It doesn't make you any more or make you any less. It can shine a light on what was going on, how much you've worked, your mentality, your skills or gifts, the internal stuff. It can shine light on it, but it's not going to be a definition. It's not definitive of who you are or even what you're capable of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other trap we fall into with the people who are masking who they are, what they're going through, it's a lot of those people are really good at this sport.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have a lot of talent and can win, but if you look at...
that don't have to work that hard to do it.
No.
And I think that's another area of struggle is when you're somebody coming in and you've had to work your tail off and you've had to grind it out and you've got to put in more miles or the miles you run take longer. And you're comparing yourself, not for nothing, to somebody that, listen, they don't have to work as hard as you do to get the same results. We got a kid in the store who set the state record in Tennessee. That guy can run miles and miles and miles around me. I can probably run farther. But only because he hasn't worked to do it. Like in 6 months, if we set out on a 50-mile race, he'll smoke me. He's just gifted differently than I am.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, that doesn't say nothing about me.
Nope. What other people are capable of or what they can do has nothing to do with you. And I think that that's another thing we get hung up on.
But we see people win and achieve, and we like that in them so much. Mm-hmm. We like what we think of them, I think, and we like what other people think of them, and then we go, I want that. I want that for myself. Well, I mean, you don't know them. You don't know who they are. You see what they're capable of, but you don't know them. You don't know who they're. You know how they interact with the world. Do they call their mom? Are they mean to dogs? You know? But we like what we see in them, what they show us. And we define that. And then we want to use that same thing to define ourselves. We want that identity.
Yeah. Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of deep stuff out there.
Yeah.
I will say that the identity that we are given is always greater than the one we create.
Do you think that realizing all of this helps with your mental health, or can it
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. If I was still living that idea where I needed to do something to be someone, I would be getting similar results as I was. It was the moment I accepted that, listen, this is not, I don't care. It is, I'm doing this as a result of who I am, not doing this for a result.
Did it give you before you realized that, did it give you a lot of anxiety and angst?
Oh, I hung a lot on it. Listen, when you've got mental health issues and you're using running and races or work or relationship or video games as a means to help with your mental health, if that thing isn't going well, your mental health isn't either. Like, yeah, I'm gonna run through this. Like, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna run this race. I'm gonna accomplish this. I'm gonna do that. All right. Well, it didn't happen. Okay. Well, I was using that to make myself feel good, to keep me out of this depression, to keep my head above water.
That was your coping mechanism.
I don't know that it was. I wouldn't go so far as to saying I was using it as a coping mechanism. Not speaking for anybody else. It's not how I was coping. It was a tool I was using unknowingly.
Okay.
To feel good about myself.
That's I think a lot of people do, and they don't necessarily realize it.
Yeah, and again, I had to realize that I couldn't make myself into anything. That I've been made. I have been created. I've been loved and formed and given gifts and talents and abilities. And they're beautiful and wonderful and divine by the creator of the earth. He saw fit to go, hey, you, this is everything I'm going to give you. And it's awesome. And it's everything you need. Figure out how to use it.
Figure it out, stupid. Is that what he said? Do you have like a dream? Did it come to you? Did the clouds part on a run? No? Oh, okay. I just thought it'd be a fun story if you had like a moment. Or like he spoke to you.
No.
On a mountaintop somewhere.
No.
On a rock.
Yeah, sometimes. I sit on rocks, on mountains. It's awesome. Yeah. It's a great place to be in awe of the created world and realize that I am a part of that creation. And it saw fit to create me as well. Individually and uniquely and wonderfully.
See, I look at those views and go, man, I'm pretty insignificant. Pretty neat to be here.
Yeah, and but that's the great part of it for me, is realizing how small I am in all of this, and yet still made with purpose.
I love that. Yeah.
That's the moment. Is that, man, all of this is going on, and yet here I am.
Yeah. He went, hey, bud. Go on the world, do some good. I made some pretty shit out here. Check it out. You get to be a part of that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was verbatim, but
I think he's pretty chill.
Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment.
But,
Creation according to Jon. It's the gospel narrative right there.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do some shit.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that, yeah, more or less.
See these sunsets? I can do this. I gave you life.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
don't fuck it up.
Yeah. We're getting close to being off the rails with this one.
A little bit.
That's all right. Listen, and that's, I don't know. I wanted to come back and at least if we can't explain it all, if we can't put a bow on it and give everybody the tools to start that process. One, I think we've done the work of at least saying, hey, this is worth looking into. Okay. And then come back and acknowledge, I get why that's hard to do. It's not quite that simple. Here's maybe some other stuff that's going on that you need to look at. Work on that. And this is probably a larger conversation. There's probably more stuff to go over. And we probably will. We'll probably come back and talk about the perils of running and mental health again. Mostly because I said, I got some mental health stuff going on. I think everybody does. Everybody deals with the mental health junk at one point or another. Some people deal with it all the time. Life events make it much worse. And then some people deal with it rarely, and then life events go, and you go, And it gets a little dicey.
Yeah, but I have always admired your ability to be vulnerable and share about that. I don't know. Thank God I don't deal with depression and...
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, you can have that. Don't worry, I'm not going to fight you for it.
Appreciate it.
But, a lot of people mask it and hide it or avoid it, or it becomes their identity. And that's a whole other thing. But you acknowledge it and share and talk to people about it. And I think that that's very admirable.
Well, I do a lot of work to figuring out why what is happening. And sometimes it's just like, I'm wired that way. There was an event, one of those times that was really dark. It took me a lot. Like I was in a bad spot and I didn't like it at all. And it took me a long time to figure out why. And now that I know why, it all makes sense.
Was that the era of the sadness sweater?
No. That was a different period. Listen, hey, that was a weird time for everybody.
Oh, it was, for sure.
You got your own little sadness sweater you got going on.
Hey, listen, you don't talk about women's clothes, okay? You don't talk about what they eat, and you don't talk about what they wear. And we're going to have to come to Jesus on that. Keep playing. Keep running that mouth.
Anyway, I talk about it, one, because I do actively do the work of figuring it out. I'm okay with being depressed because I know it's okay to feel that way. I want to sometimes figure out why I'm dealing with one emotion or another, and then just let other people know that, hey, these things are okay to deal with too. Like it's okay. Like you can deal with it. This is a process. That's all.
You do a good job with it.
Well, there you go. All right. I think we've done a good job with this podcast today.
You want to wrap it up for today?
I might as well. You got anything else?
No, pretty good. I'll let you steer the ship, baby. I'm just along for the ride.
All right. Well, First Mate Jones here, coming at you from the Ultra Crude podcast. Didn't get too crude today. Thankful for that. We'll catch you next time right here.
All right. See y'all later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.